I'm here with Jan Dowling, the head women's golf coach at the University of Michigan. Thanks for your time, coach, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Gavin, for having
Yeah,
me on.
yeah, absolutely. Just tell me, how was your summer?
Yeah, great summer. Obviously recruiting. There was a big part of that. Got to go to the British girls this summer in Wales, which was a very nice trip. Got to see some of our 26 commitments, so that was great. And obviously looking at the younger class, but enjoyed t my time with my family as well. Tried to
Yeah,
balance that out a little bit as best I can because we're back at it already. So.
it's just what do you get most excited about, for an upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always really cool to see how the freshmen come in, and we're doing our best to help them get settled in. I think that's fun because it changes the personality of your team. I would say that our values stay the same and who we are stays the same, but I think like your personality changes, and that's always fun to see how the dynamic of the team and the personality changes with our incoming freshmen. And then,
Yeah,
our first qualifier, I was told by a mentor of mine that if you ever aren't excited about your first qualifier of the season, you probably shouldn't be coaching anymore. And I couldn't be more excited. We actually start today, our first qualifier, to see who's going to be in our top five for our home event. So, you know, Ann Arbor is a great college town and it's best when all the students are here. So there's just like a great vibe. We have our first home football game this weekend. So all of those things kind of help create a really fun atmosphere at the end of August, early September.
yeah. What's it like just, when students get back on campus and, you start your qualifying, just,
That it's just
yeah,
feeling out like how the personality changes and how the freshmen settle in and you've recruited them, they're good players, but it's just great to kind of start diving into their games as well and just seeing how they score and getting a little more detailed about how they go about the
yeah,
way they play the game. So I think that's the stuff that we're most excited about. And
yeah.
home football games coming up, all those things. So it's just an exciting environment.
Whenever you get to go to a game at Michigan, just what's it like, full?
Very busy and very
Yeah,
loud. Yeah,
oh yeah,
it's a spectacle. Like there's
yeah,
obviously very passionate football fans, but even if you're not a football fan, you could enjoy your afternoon or evening at a game. There's a lot of great people watching, great music. Yeah, it's quite a spectacle. So.
And you're from Canada, coach. Do you ever get to go to Canada much and, see family up there?
Oh no,
All
I
things
have
at
yeah,
Michigan?
I have family. I have close family up there. My mom and my brother and his family, and so we're up there as often as possible.
Tell me about this tournament, hosting, and just tell me about your home course, the University of Michigan, golf course.
Yeah, we're excited to host. We don't host every year.
Yeah,
The reason we're hosting this fall is because we host the NCAA regional this spring. So
yeah,
it's a great opportunity. The reason we do it is to just give our players an opportunity to play at home and know what that feels like for when we are at the NCAA regional in the spring. It's different. Usually we're getting on a plane flying somewhere in a hotel, and so I want our players to experience what it's like to sleep in their own bed and get up and go to a tournament where they're 10 minutes away and driving their own car to the facility, and then us warming up as a team in a very familiar place. So, yeah, we're super excited about that. We have a great field. I think we
yeah,
have six Big Ten teams in the field. So it'll be great to host them. I think they're smart to come here. Our golf course is an Alistair Mackenzie design. So he designed Augusta National, Cypress Point. So it's an epic layout, and I would say it's somewhat visually intimidating, particularly approach shots and around the greens. So it's a course that is good to play several times before you actually play in a NCAA regional. And then, as you mentioned, Virginia's coming. They're
yeah,
historically a top 10 program, so great to have them in the field. And then some locals and just coaches I've invited, or a lot of them are my friends. And so great to have AJ Newell back. She's now the head coach at South Florida, but was our assistant here for 3 years. And so this is her second year as a head coach, so great to have her back. Yeah, I mean, I think this golf course tests your approach shots, it tests your short game in every area, and I think it's going to be super fun for our players to play at home. We have three seniors, And they actually came on, two of the three came on their official visit when we last hosted. So it's kind of a full circle moment for them
Yeah.
too. So it's quite an honor to host. Obviously, helps us and our, golf course staff getting ready for the regional as well to provide a great experience for the athletes that come in the spring.
Coach, you mentioned that you usually don't host. You're hosting this year because hosting regionals in May. So just talk about getting ready for regionals. Obviously, I've learned that like the NCAA will set up the course for regionals and different things like that. Just for you as coaches, getting used to having a tournament at your home course and just all the different things that go into it, and just talk about how this will be good preparation for the regional in May.
Yeah, again, it's just our players, golfers in general don't typically get to play at home. And so it's a very special experience, but I want our players to experience it before the regional, so it's not the first time that they're doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's sleeping in your own bed, it's
Mhm.
playing a golf course that you're familiar with, but I think the stakes are higher because it's an actual tournament. They certainly qualify here a lot. But that's still a different level than the actual competition. And so, like, our players feeling that,
Mhm.
and our emphasis will kind of be on, you know, the whole goal of competitive golf is to free yourself up, like you're, playing with your friends. I mean, that's what makes tournament golf hard is that the stakes are higher. And so, we're trying to get our players as comfortable as possible in those big time moments like the NCAA regional. And if we could do a trial run this fall, I mean, that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. And just how do you think it'll be, having both your coaching duties for your team and, being a tournament host because you'll have 14 teams outside of your own team at your home tournament in a few weeks. So just what do you
Yeah.
think it'll be like, being very busy and, being tournament host and, coaching your team?
Yeah, I mean, we have
Yeah.
excellent support staff, and we've done this before. They've hosted high-level collegiate events many, many, many times. They've hosted lots of
Yeah.
GAM championships, so the Golf Association of Michigan. So, we did all our prep work this summer. It's something I didn't mention that I did this summer, but all our prep work's basically done from like a operations standpoint. So I hopefully and our staff does such a good job to allow me to just coach when this tournament's actually happening. We have two great tournament directors that'll help us, and Mandy, our assistant's done a lot of work. So most of it's done already, to be honest, and a couple small things that we have to do a couple days before, and um, it's some of the joy and responsibility of hosting, which we're up for.
From Canada, near the end of, September 21st to 23rd, you'll go up to Canada and play the Canadian Collegiate Invitational. I believe you're co-hosting with Kent State, and this will be at Beacon Hall Golf Course in Ontario, just outside of Toronto. So being from Canada, just tell me about this tournament and just how excited you are, to bring your team up to Canada and play in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Golf Canada has done a fabulous job of just
Yeah.
inserting themselves from a global golf perspective, and this is kind of a next step for them. They've focused a lot on their national teams and their development, and so the partnership that they've created with their junior team and then hosting this collegiate event, I mean, it's a win-win situation. The tournament's going to be world class. Beacon Hall is one of the top 10 courses in Canada. And then the juniors, so the junior development team will be there. They'll get to see collegiate golf right up close and personal. They're actually playing in the tournament. And then also a great chance for us as coaches to see some of these junior golfers play a course that's set up for collegiate golfers. So yeah, it's going to be a great experience. I grew up about 20 minutes from the golf course that we're playing.
Okay.
It's a very private, exclusive course, so I actually never played it as a junior or an amateur. But I've heard fabulous things, and can't wait to get our team there and compete on Canadian soil. It's quite an honor for me to be a part of it, and glad Golf Canada and grateful that Golf Canada was motivated to host such a prestigious event. The
Yeah.
winner gets a Canadian Open exemption, the CKCP
Yeah.
Canadian Open exemption for next year in the 2026 LPGA. Canadian Open, so that's a big deal. I don't know how many collegiate tournaments actually offer that, but it's a pretty exceptional opportunity for our players.
Heard you saying that you're very excited for this tournament, and I heard, even a while back, this tournament got, announced by Golf Canada. So just tell me about, what went into this tournament, just how this tournament, got started.
Yeah, again, this partnership with the junior
Yeah,
national team, and Golf Canada has really inserted themselves globally, and this was kind of a next step for them. Something that was missing in their competitions calendar was Division One collegiate golf. They started it on the men's side 2 years ago, or maybe just last year, I don't know. And they obviously wanted to make sure it happened on the women's side too. So grateful for that.
we heard from other coaches. Are they excited to go up to Canada? And just for you, given that you grew up, 20 minutes away from the course, do you think you'll have any, family or friends coming out to support and just
Yeah,
watch your team?
I'll definitely have some family and friends out. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, I think the other teams I don't think they'd be coming if they weren't excited about it. So Toronto's a beautiful city. They'll fly into Toronto, the teams that are flying, and hopefully they'll get a chance to see Toronto. It's a beautiful, huge city. And we'll definitely be taking our team to a couple of the highlights in the city. Even it will be about 30 minutes south of downtown, or north of downtown rather.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it'll be a great experience, and not something that we do every day. And the teams that were invited, I mean, I think it's going to be something that they'll remember hopefully for their whole collegiate career.
Tell me about a little bit about Canada Golf. We just had Brooke Henderson won the CPKC Women's Open, and 2024 last year, the President's Cup was in Montreal, and just the Canadian Open. Nick Taylor won that, and just I could see that the Canadian people are so passionate about golf, even though the weather there, you don't get
I
to.
mean, golf in Canada is a huge sport.
Yeah,
And Golf Canada itself since it's become part of the Olympics, the sport of golf, Golf Canada has really invested a lot with the Olympic money that they're receiving. And so I think they have some pretty lofty goals of having many players on both the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour, and I think they're doing a fabulous job. I mean,
yeah.
there's several top collegiate players that are coming to this tournament, and some weren't able to make it just from a logistic standpoint. But I mean, considering the population of Canada, I think the ratio of players representing Canada on the LPGA Tour and PGA Tour is quite astounding, actually. So I think, yeah, the development that's happening there is huge, but there's also great golf courses. You mentioned Royal Montreal. It's one of the oldest courses in North America. I think a couple different courses claim they're the oldest, but Royal Montreal claims they're one of the oldest or the oldest. So there's quite a bit of history. There's some great architects that have designed courses all over Canada. And so, although it's 7, 8 months of the year, it's something that Canadians really embrace. And Golf Canada itself has put on the Canadian Open on the men's side and the Canadian Open on the women's side. They've been
Yeah.
mainstays on the schedule in professional golf for years and years and years. And I think I'm very proud to be from Canada, and I'm very proud. I went through their development program way back when, but it certainly helped me become a better player and coach now. And yeah, they just keep growing and getting better. It's really impressive.
And what was it like to see, Brooke Henderson? She won again
Yeah,
at the Canadian Open this past
yeah,
weekend.
yeah. I know. It's again. I think possibly Nick Taylor motivated her, inspired her. She hasn't won in quite a while. She's a great player, and amazing to see her step up and get her first win in quite a few years and do it out there. I think like there's so much great golf. Karina Kalaporis, she's a Canadian. She was at the US Senior Open the same week. So there's a lot of women's golf up on the top of the leaderboard from Canada, and that's just really great to see. But my connection to Nick Taylor is his caddy I coached at Kent State. So
Okay.
the Kent State Canada connection is quite strong too. So that's where I played college golf. And so
Yeah.
it's just great to see the prevalence that we have out there.
Just tell me about, your upcoming season and just what you look forward to with the upcoming season in particular. What do you think, it'll be like to have the Big Ten championship now in California, given it was in, Maryland last year.
Yeah, we set up our tournament schedule to compete against great teams on great golf courses, and all of
Definitely.
that is to prepare us for the NCAA regional and final, and Big Tens. And so, I feel like we've done that pretty well. I mean, we're playing some pretty epic golf courses. Medina, the host of the President's Cup. We have our home course, the Tar Heel. They just recently renovated Beacon Hall as a top 10 course in Canada. And then in the spring, Puerto Rico, that's a PGA Tour event site. We've got some other great golf courses lined up. And again, that's all just to prepare us for postseason. Trying to get out west a couple times. We are just doing it at Big Tens this year, but we play on a bunch of different grasses, and our players have to adapt pretty quickly to the conditions. And yeah, going out west for Big Tens is going to be new for everyone in the conference, except for our four West Coast friends. And um, yeah, I think it's going to be a new experience. I think our players are excited for like probably decent weather. It's usually inevitable that we don't have the greatest weather for the Big Ten championship. It's kind of what made it the Big Ten championship, but I do think that they're excited. It's a whole new experience, and they're the first group to do it, and it's outstanding competition, and that's
Yeah.
what we want as we head into postseason. Is we want to play the best. We got to see how we stack up against the very best teams, and keep improving. It's what gets us ready for postseason. It's why we have so many Big Ten teams in the NCAA championship.
Yeah.
We play great teams all year, and it's amazing like how well we push each other.
Just what's it like for, college golf, particularly on the women's side, that now, these college tournaments are getting to play on, these prestigious and courses that have a lot of significance in the game.
Yeah, they create memorable experiences for our players, and that's what we're trying to do as coaches. I'll have players text me that have graduated 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they're like, I can't believe we played that course in college. And it's just we get to play some practice rounds at other places as well. And we've played San Francisco Golf Club and Monterey Peninsula Country Club, and uh we've been to some of these great courses, and they're young. Sometimes they don't totally get what they're experiencing in the moment, but they certainly appreciate it later in life too, and they're like, wow, I played that golf course already. So I think that's just a great thing. And like I said, we're trying to create great memorable experiences for our teams, and they work hard, and and they're busy nonstop from morning till evening, and helping create those great experiences for them is something I really enjoy doing.
Yeah. As a coach, let's talk about your roster. You have three international players coming into your team: Jamie Ing, Reese Ing, and then you'll have Vanessa Zhang from China. So just talk about your team. I know your team's led by the Sung sisters, Sydney and Lauren, and then you'll have obviously Mara Janice, who individually made it to regionals last year. So just tell me about your how your roster looks for this year and just what it'll be like, having those three new freshmen international players joining your team.
Yeah, I would say our three seniors will provide a ton of consistency. I know that. And then our three freshmen, I think they're all going to have an immediate impact on our team. And uh, I have kind of zero doubt about that. And then the middle of our lineup can provide some fire. So like our sophomores and our juniors are great players who have a ton of experience and have really worked to improve their games. And I'm excited to see kind of how this whole lineup shakes out for this week and the rest of the fall, and see who's worked the hardest this summer and who's gained the most experience this summer. And that's one of the reasons I get so excited for our first qualifier. But I do think that our seniors have a lot of ownership in the culture of our team, and the environment that we create, and who we are. And so I think they're excited to lead these freshmen, and the freshmen have great intentions to be fabulous players and fabulous teammates, and have already had a really positive impact. So we're excited to kind of help them get as settled in as quickly as possible.
How is the transition process, for your three international players?
It depends on the player. I
Yeah.
would say that all three of them have traveled around the world. Even though they're young, they've truly traveled around the world and played competitive golf in different continents already, which is mind blowing. You know, Reese is 17 years old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jamie's older, she's 19, and Vanessa's 18, and so they have these incredible experiences already just because they've been high performers for a long time. So from the golf standpoint, I think that's probably the easiest for them, just because they've done it before. And then it really just depends on the player and the family for the other side of things, like culturally. You know, again, it's spending as much time with our incoming freshmen as possible, just knowing that they have people they can lean on. Like it's inevitable that everybody, even if you're from the US, you kind of get homesick every once in a while, but
Yeah.
you know, they've got a different language to adapt to, different food to adapt to, and then on top of it, they're going to university classes for the first time, staying in dorms for the first time. So I'd say every one of them is a little bit different. Some adapt quicker than others, but there's no right or wrong way to do it. And
Yeah.
I think our biggest thing as a team is it's helpful to be a part of a community already. I mean, they're a part of the women's golf community, they're a part of the golf program community, and then they're a part of the athletic community. So I think that helps. And then hopefully they meet people, you know, either at their classes or in the dorms where they kind of keep extending that circle. But I do think so, you know, all of the freshmen miss home at some point, whether they're international or not. But we are pretty sensitive to it in the beginning, especially the international kids. But
Yeah.
you know, this is also their dream, right? Their dream is to come to the US and play college golf. So there's also that excitement and that desire from within them as well.
The fact that you were an international student and you went and played college golf, at a new school in a new country, does that give you a good perspective of just, what your players are going through? Not only is it like for you and your assistant Mandy just to have, players from all different places. You have players.
Okay, so I don't think going from Toronto to Ohio was that big a difference.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of lean a little bit more on our players. And I do think the fact that we do have a lot of international players, they can lean on each other for that.
Okay.
Just from a cultural standpoint, like, hey, like, what do you think about this? And you know, we try and keep it light too. Like, we mostly like make fun of each other, you know. In a light-hearted way and just like those cultural small differences and um you know we want to keep it light and fun and but also helpful too. And I think again the fact that we do have these international players and then we also have some local kids, you know,
Yeah.
Mara's from Chicago, it's 4 hours away, and then Grace is from about an hour from campus. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have that mix of, you know, parents that come in and watch, and then, you know, some of our international players, their parents will never come see them play a collegiate event. And so, you know, our parents are sensitive to that too, and they'll kind of come watch them play a couple holes, and same with our support staff as well. So, again, I just think we really try hard to create a family environment. And I think they lean probably more on their teammates who are also international kids and probably a little bit less on on me. I've been in the States
Yeah.
for 20 years now. So, and then coming from Toronto to Ohio isn't that big of a cultural shock,
Yeah. So going from Canada to Ohio.
besides
Yeah.
pronouncing things differently. So,
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. So you're more relying on, like Mimi and Thomas Dean,
yeah.
your two sophomores who are international players to, just help out and, get like Jamie Reese and Vanessa, more acclimated just to, the team and just, going to a new country and a new school at Michigan more than your own experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So Coach, something else I did my research on I thought was interesting. I saw that your team, you every year you compile either like a book or a podcast. Can you just tell me a little bit about that? I thought that was something interesting that I've not seen another program do before.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a tradition of our team. We wait till winter break and you know, we pick a podcast or a book um and just help our players get better. I think it's
Hmm.
like taking ownership in your education and sport or psychology or anything like that. You know, 2 years ago we did a podcast and
Yeah.
each team presented um a different podcast so the whole team could learn. They didn't have to hear all four of the podcasts. They're pretty heavy podcasts. But that was on like a sport psychology thing. Last year we did Greg Harden's book. Greg Harden was one of our athletic counselors here. He passed away suddenly, but he had just written a fabulous book just on mindset for life and being a high performer no matter what it is. And it's applicable obviously to their life now, but we hope it's lessons that they take with them
Yeah,
throughout their careers and their family life and their personal life beyond Michigan. And so yeah, it's a fun way to get together and we really we've got really intelligent kids at Michigan and they love to learn and I think just helping promote that and ways that one help them get better as people and then help our team hopefully get an edge heading into the spring season.
yeah.
So we usually
Having
pick something that's applicable to golf and life.
mhm.
We've done Vision 54 books. They've gotten a lot out of that. And like I said, we did the podcast Beneath the Surface. Golf Beneath the Surface is the one we did last year. And then this past year we did Greg Harden's book.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting doing my research because I've talked to a lot of coaches and some of them, spend extra time just meeting with their players or, doing like different forums, just checking in where their players are, during the season with school and just golf, but never heard of a team doing, podcasts and
Yeah.
books. So just tell me about how that came about and just these bonding activities, just how that helps, you as coach and just your team, come, closer together and just work towards, something like a book or a podcast.
Yeah, like I said, it was just like a great learning
Yeah,
experience for all our players and over the winter break and we come back together and there are lots of ways to improve. Some of them play in tournaments over the winter and so it's that and like maybe doing a little bit of reading and taking ownership in their lifelong learning. I think that's a big thing. Like hopefully when they leave Michigan, they don't stop studying and improving and getting better as a human and as a high performer.
tell me about the current state of, college and amateur golf and where you think it is right now.
Yeah, it's exciting. I don't think it's ever been better. You know, I think there's more young kids that are exposed to the game than ever before. I think there's better coaching, there's better technology, um, there's better training tools. These kids come in and I mean they're hitting it further than ever, they're scoring lower than ever. If you look at women's golf, like the history of scoring averages, I mean, it's mind-blowing how much it's improved over the years from program to program and then Division One, two, and three. Yeah, I think it's in a great place. I think women and men obviously have great opportunities to make some money on the amateur side now. So I think that's an exciting thing that probably keeps some players playing college golf or amateur golf a little bit longer. And I think overall, I think in the big picture, that's a good thing. And you get someone like Rose Zhang sticking around Stanford another year, where maybe before NIL she wouldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah,
But it is cool to see. Same with Jackson for him to return, and he's returning to Auburn, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fabulous, and he's gaining financial benefits, but also like getting the experience he needs so that when he is ready to turn pro, and you saw it with Lottie and you saw it with Rose, like when they turn pro, they're successful right away because they're ready.
yeah,
And I think that's a really cool thing to see. And, I think coaching's improved in all of those areas, both in junior golf and collegiately. And, it's amazing. Like, I was on a top 25 program. My scoring average, I don't think I'd be able to make a lineup in the top 25 anymore. So I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, I was playing different clubs, but boy, I mean, the level of play has just improved drastically, and it's impressive to see.
yeah. So what do you think about, the opportunities and just, you know, that are available to these young players,
I think it's just motivating them to stay longer, right? And then the Augusta National Women's Am, I think that's another fabulous opportunity for high level amateur female golfers. I mean, it's a unique thing that gets them great exposure and gets them more financial benefit to maybe keep them in the amateur game a little bit longer. So that just means they're more ready when they go to the professional level. So it's fabulous to see these opportunities coming up. And if you're a motivated young athlete these days, I mean, there's incredible opportunities.
How does your team at Michigan just navigate the winters? And when you're talking with a recruiter or someone you're looking at for your team, just how do you you know talk about the great things in Michigan and not have the weather and the winters there at Michigan be a deterrent?
Yeah, I mean, we have great facilities. I mean,
Mhm.
we can get a golf club in your hand every day. You could putt every day. You could chip every day. You can hit wedge shots every day. You can hit full shots every day. So I think like our players improve. Our players' rankings go down. Their rankings go up. Their scoring average goes down. And I think that's a proof is in the pudding, right? Like, they're home for a good month between the fall semester and the spring semester, so it's a great opportunity for them to get south, and some of them even live in southern climates or can go to a southern climate to practice and get on grass. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to improve. We do some really cool stuff in our putting room and our chipping room, and I do believe that our players improve, and the proof is in their scoring averages. The proof
Mhm.
is in their rankings. I think we don't lie in the recruiting process. People know where Michigan's located, and it does get cold and it does get crappy out, and but the people that are okay with that and embrace it and all the other things that Michigan has to offer from an academic standpoint, from a school environment standpoint, for some players that outweighs that cold month or two that we do have. You know, we start competing in early February. Our first tournament's February 1st, 2nd, 3rd in Puerto Rico this year. Last year we were down south a ton. So we do training weekends in Florida. And so listen, the season's long. I mean, if you're going through to the national championship, you're competing from February to May, and it's super intense. So it's not just the tournaments, but it's qualifying too. And so they're exhausted by the end. And like, December, January, a little bit of February, we're inside, and some of the advantages I think that we do have is that, we're not tiring ourselves out
Yeah,
because we're trying to peak for April and May. That's our intent, and we get some great work done in January and February, and in March we're typically either traveling or at a tournament. So I think our players are fresher. That's at least the plan, is that they're fresher for the postseason, and that's something we talk about as well.
yeah. Given that you have the winters to deal with there in Michigan, just how do you get your team ready to go? Starting in February, and just how do you navigate the break that we have for 3 months, November, December, and January? With college golf.
Yeah, again, training weekends, we can get a club in our hand every day with our facilities.
Okay.
And then the specific training that we do with our players, I think really help them get better. I mean, they're ready to go. I mean, a lot of them will go south. Either they live there or they go on their own during the winter break, and then we have a training weekend and spring break pretty early as well. So we have a lot of opportunities to get outside before our actual season starts, and then what we do here, we believe in, and we know our players get better.
Yeah. So, Coach, I wanted to talk about the LPGA Collegiate Advancement Pathway that got announced in July. It's a direct route for top collegiate golfers, to get like the top 10 players enrolled in this will earn Epson Tour membership, based on the ranking. So, just when you heard about this, what was your initial thoughts? And just, is this a big talking point, particularly on the women's side, for coaches? And, just what does it mean, now for, top college players to now have a chance if they
Yeah,
want to
it's
go play
exciting.
professionally?
Again, it's
Mhm.
another opportunity and a stepping stone for the kids that, the big thing there is that they have to be in their final year of eligibility,
Yeah.
which I think is cool. So it's kind of a great partnership between the LPGA and college golf. Because it's a way for them to get status on the Epson Tour without going and investing in the
Mhm.
qualifying school. The qualifying school, it is what it is. It's to play professional golf, and so
Yeah.
by the time if you get to the final stage, you've got to declare yourself a pro. And so you have to kind of forego your final semester or your rest of your eligibility as a collegiate golfer. So it can put some of these kids in a tough spot, but they know that going into it. So they know it's a decision they potentially have to make. So this is just a different way to get great players onto the Epson Tour and then earning their way onto the LPGA Tour. So great partnership, and I know the LPGA Tour has invested a lot and are continuing to invest in a committee with Division One coaches and the LPGA Tour and continuing to build that relationship and make it work for everybody. They want the best players from collegiate golf on their tour, and we want our best players on tour as well. So when they're ready, and so I think we have equal investments in creating these great opportunities for these great players and up and coming players.
Yeah, coach, do you think, I talked with other coaches, do you think this is long overdue? This is kind of similar, to the PGA Tour U that, the men's side has. You don't get PGA Tour status, this is just Epson Tour status, but do you think this is long overdue, or what do you think this means, going forward for just the women's college, game?
Yeah, I think it's a great ad. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's long overdue. There's been way more international players that didn't go to university on the LPGA Tour side. But I also think that the LPGA Tour recognizes that there's some great players who have developed really
Mhm.
well on the collegiate side, and so I think it's finding that balance. We're not the same as the PGA Tour,
Yeah.
on so many different levels, and nor should we do the same things. And Yeah, I think it's great. Do I think it's long overdue? I don't know. I don't
How
know.
special was it to, coach at your alma mater, Kent State?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Like, I learned a ton in college from Mike Morrow, who was my coach, and Herb Page, who was the director of golf.
Yeah.
Both of them have coached great players that have gone on to do pretty incredible things in the golf world, both on course and off. And um, yeah, to go back, I mean, it was my first coaching job. Very grateful for that. I mean, they're well respected, and so I think that opened up some doors for me. Just I think the fact that I was learning from Mike Morrow and learning from Herb Page, I think it gave me some more opportunities that maybe I wouldn't have had before if I didn't go there. And then to like be coaching where I learned so much, I think was pretty special too. So I also got to coach the men's team for a semester, which was a pretty cool experience, and it was great for me to add that to my resume. It's different coaching men, and I'll always kind of cherish that time. That was a pretty cool thing. Kent State, it was one of the best finishes they ever had at a NCAA championship, and I got to be a part of that for a short time, and great group of guys that are all very successful. So yeah, I'll always be grateful for that, and cheer on that Kent State women's and men's team pretty closely, and always have and always
How
will.
special is coaching to you? And has it been like coaching at Michigan since 2013?
It's been incredible. I mean, there's been a learning curve for sure. But if I could I never had like a specific school that I wanted to coach at, but through my experiences where I got to coach as an assistant, Michigan has kind of became the perfect fit for me. I like being up north. I know as a golfer that probably sounds weird, but I love being up north. I love that challenge. And I think I love helping develop our players despite kind of our weather hurdle. I do really enjoy that, and the town itself is wonderful. It's a great college town, and the town itself kind of revolves around the university and sports and athletic. Those teams. Football, basketball is a big deal. I'm a huge sports fan. Hockey. So like the environment and the culture around the town is great, and to be 45 minutes from the Canadian border and within a 4 or 5 hour drive from my immediate family is pretty special for me too, to kind of live out my coaching dreams, but then also be close enough to get in a car and see my family. I never would have been able to draw that up any better. So to land at Michigan when the job opened up, I couldn't have been more excited about the opportunity and grateful they felt the same about me. And it's been a fun ride. I mean, I think we've coached some extraordinary young women. They they've gone on to do incredible things. We have three that are playing professionally right now, but there are others that are, rocking it in the business world, and I love seeing them be successful and chase their dreams. And yeah, it's a great spot.